let's continue with users. So I'll go to users, and here we have one user. Personally, I don't use this section a lot because most times I build websites for solo companies, and there's not a lot of user management when it comes to website for some companies. But basically what this does is it's very useful for managing users and assigning a role to them. When you install WordPress yourself by default, you get a user role of the administrator. Right now, this is my username. I chose this username during the WordPress installation, and also my role is the administrator role. I have 4 posts which I've created or which is assigned to me because some of these posts were imported by the team we created, so automatically they get assigned to the administrator or whoever imported or installed that thing. So user management can be very important if you are going to be assigning different roles to different type of people who manage your website. For instance, a news agency, the administrator can be someone who oversees everything that has to do with the website. An administrator can manage other users. You can assign roles to other users, remove other users from the website, and do basically everything that has to do with the website. A news agency can have another user as the editor. So their role is basically to edit and make changes to content. You can have the author role or the subscriber role. There are so many roles depending on the job description of the user. So quickly, I'm going to add a new user and demonstrate how that works. So I clicked on new user and the username is required. Let's say we have a new user called Benjamin. The username should be lowercase characters. Then the email is required, and you can have an email as ben@themillionshoppers.com. And first name, last name, website if that is necessary, and then password. By default, WordPress chooses or generates a password for any new user you create, so you can decide to show the password and make changes to it or make it more simple. So you get this password strength bar here that tells you how weak or strong your password is. So I'm going to make this a little bit stronger. I'll introduce some numbers to it. So the medium password strength is just fine, but you can take it up a notch by I think having the name in the password. Let me introduce an uppercase character. Okay, so I'll leave it as the medium password strength. Now you can decide to send the notification to the new user. So this would email the new user automatically about their new account creation. And then you can choose a role for the user. So you have the contributor role, the author role, the editor role, and also the administrator role. So you have to be careful with the type of role you assign to your users. If you assign an administrator role to a user, for instance, that user can delete your own administrator account because you both have the same privilege, and the roles are stacked by order of privilege. The first one here, subscriber, is the least privilege. The contributor has more privilege than the subscriber. The author has more privilege than the contributor, and so on. If you have someone that works very closely to you, you may want to give them the editor role so they can manage these other roles, but then they can't manage your own account. So you are the administrator and you have control over every other role here. User management is also important when you have an online store or e-commerce store. Normally, when you install the WooCommerce plugin, you get a new role that is introduced to the user roles, and that is the shop manager. So you can assign a shop manager, someone who manages orders, invoices, and also the products. They can't manage any other things like the tool settings, even though they can manage posts, but there are limits to what they can do as a shop manager. Assigning a role to your users is important when you're trying to limit what they can do on your website. So you don't want people to start editing your website content. So you restrict them in that regard by assigning a role to them. So you can go ahead and let's give this guy a role of an author. Let's say he's the one in charge of writing content, blog posts. So you can give him a role of an author, and then you add a new user. So now we have a new user. You can go ahead and send them their user name and password for them to log in. And basically how you log into WordPress is on a new tab, you enter the name of your domain, themillionshoppers.com/WP admin. So if you hit enter, this takes you to the admin page of your website. Because I'm logged in, it redirected me to the dashboard. And if you notice, we have a new card here from WP Forms. This is because the team we installed previously installed this plugin for us. So most plugins have their own cards that appear on the dashboard, so you can easily move them around and position them anywhere you want on the WordPress dashboard. So let's log into the new user account we created and see how different the dashboard would look But before I do that, I think I forgot the password I used. So I'll go back to edit the user. You can always change your user's password. So I just clicked on edit user. You can decide to customize their admin dashboard. You can give them a color scheme. Let's pick the sunrise color scheme, for instance. So you see the changes in the dashboard. You can enable keyboard shortcuts for comment moderation. You can decide to enable or disable the toolbar. And this is the toolbar here. You can choose to enable or disable the toolbar when they are viewing the website. Like when they are viewing the front end like this, you can decide to keep this toolbar or disable it. And why you would want to disable a toolbar for your user is if you don't want them to suggest the platform you are building or your website is built on. For instance, I can decide to disable the toolbar when the author is logged into the dashboard. So I want to keep them on the front end like this without them having links to take them to the dashboard. So that's what this checkbox is meant to do. So I'll have it turned back on, and usernames cannot be changed. Once you create a user, you can't change the username, but rather you can decide to display the name as you wish. So here you can make changes to the role. Let's say they got promoted. You can decide to give them the editor role. So they are no longer authors, but now they can edit other people's content. So I'll leave it back as author. You can make changes to their name. And for nickname takes your username. So you can make changes to your nickname, and you can see here it is required. So when you say display name publicly as, you can decide to choose the way your name displays. If I go to the front end on this post, you can see it says by admin. This is because it is displaying my name publicly as my username. Okay, so remember we are making changes or editing the new user we created. So we are going to log into the user account, and then you would see that instead of displaying the name as Benjamin, we have it displayed as Benjamin Sampson. You can also make changes to their email and biographical information, profile picture, etc. Now under account management, we need to generate a new password. So just click on generate password, and then we're going to use a password we can remember. It says weak, but I'm going to proceed. So I'll click here to confirm the use of weak password, then I'll update user. So now let's log out of the admin account and then log into Benjamin's account. So Benjamin, then at 2021, then I would log in. So you can see the color scheme we selected has applied to Benjamin's dashboard. And if you notice, most of the menus have disappeared. So these are the only menus that is available to Benjamin. Okay, so Benjamin cannot create pages, but can write posts or add a new post. Benjamin can add a new item or image to the media library. Benjamin can moderate comments. Benjamin can make changes to his own profile, and I'm not sure Benjamin can do much under tools. You can see there is no option here for tools, but I don't know why the menu is there in the first place. So these are all the options available. For instance, if I go to posts, I can't edit other people's posts. I can only view them because I am not the editor. I am an author. If Benjamin had the role of editor, you would see an edit link next to it. So Benjamin can click edit to make changes to that post. So here you can see the author of each of these posts here and the categories they fall under. So let's add a new post, for instance. I am getting this welcome to the blog editor because I just logged into a new account. So I would close this out and I would enter the title of my posts, and then I would enter start typing content. I don't know what I'm typing, but okay, so let's publish this. I'll click on publish, and then I can view my posts. Notice how we get the coming soon page because we still have that plugin active. So I can't really see anything here because I'm not the admin. So I'll go back real quick to the dashboard and let's see the posts under the post in the dashboard. So now I can edit this post because I made this post. And you can see the author here, Benjamin Sampson. Same thing for the media library. I can see all the images in the media library, but I cannot delete them because the delete option is not available to me. Obviously, this image was uploaded by the admin, so I can only view, but I can't make changes. Even to the title, you can see nothing is working. They are just clicking, but I can't type anything. So I'll X this out. So now you get the idea. This is where the user role comes to play. So I'll quickly log out of Benjamin's account and log back into my admin account. So we are back to the admin account, and if I go over to posts, you can see the post we made in Benjamin's account. So Benjamin can be in the UK or in the US or in Canada. It doesn't matter his location. As long as he's logged into this dashboard, whatever he does would appear on WordPress. So I can easily see what Benjamin has been doing so far. I can decide to trash his posts or view the post or edit it if I want, because I am the administrator. And notice how all the menus that are available to the administrator came back: appearance, plugins, users, etc. Also, as an admin, you can edit your user account. Let me demonstrate how to change the name that appears on the posts. That's the author name. Here it says by admin. Let's say, for instance, I want it to show by Kenneth, which is my name. So I can do that by editing my user account. So I'll go to all users. I would click on edit admin. I can decide to change my color scheme if I want, but I'll leave it as the default. There are so many nice color schemes here, so you can change them as you please. So I'll go back to leave it as default. Then I'll scroll down to where it says first name and last name. So I can enter my first name here, and then where it says display name publicly as, I'll drop this down and you would see the first name I just entered appeared in the list. If I decide to display my first name and last name, I can do the same. So let's enter my last name. And if I go over to display name publicly, we now have Chidozie in the option. And we also have the part where it combined my first name and my last name, and the reverse of my first name and my last name, which is the last name and first name. So depending on how I want to display my name, I can decide to select that option. Then I'll scroll all the way down and update profile. So if I go back to visit the site on the front end, go to the blog section. So this is Benjamin's post. You can see by Benjamin. And if I scroll down, this is my own post. You can see by Kenneth Chidozie. So on websites like CNN, you can have different authors or different people who make posts on the website. You can have different people who make posts on the websites or blog. So this is where I would end this lesson on users and user management. I will see you on the next one.